Welcome to the Sands Fitness Podcast, a place for conversations on fitness, health, and what's happening in the Sands community.
Hello and welcome to the Sands Fitness Podcast. You might have just seen then that I'm not actually talking into the mic, I'm talking into my phone down here because we had some technical difficulties. But we thought we'd keep the microphones out anyway because it's been going so well up until now. But this is a first for us, mate. Welcome, Tommy.
G'day. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? No. We're back.
Yeah, we had some technical issues on our podcast kit yet. I'm not a full podcaster yet, so that's going to, we'll have to research that. Anyway, we're recording on the phone, so hopefully you can hear us properly. Excited today to talk to you guys about nutrition. This is something that we actually put in the Facebook group and got some questions from you guys and got a really nice response as well. So we're going to try and give you as much information as we can from previous experiences and stuff that we know from ourselves and the other coaches as well. Hopefully you can gain some knowledge today or take something away from the podcast. What I would say is we're going to try our best not to ramble on too much because this is a subject that we could talk about for a long time. So you might notice that I put it as part 1 in the notes there in the title. So we might come back to it depending on how we get on. But we're going to try and have a real kind of like critical opinion today. So we might have our own views on different things, but we want you to be able to take some stuff away, maybe go and research it yourself and apply it for yourself as well. So before we start then with the questions, just a little overview from kind of where I'm at. We're talking about nutrition. There's a lot of questions on diets and supplements and things like that today. I think in a world where there's so much information out there and so many fads and things like that, it's important to realize that if you have a weight loss goal, let's just go a little bit more specific to that because I know that's what a lot of people are aspiring for, then the basics of it stay exactly the same. It's all about creating a calorie deficit. That means that you're burning more calories than you're consuming. Now, if you go to any diet, you go to any nutritionist, any coach, they're going to tell you exactly the same thing, but it's the method and the application of how you get there that's different. Likewise, if someone's trying to put on weight, then it could be obviously the other way around, that you're trying to consume more than you're burning off. There's a lot of other stuff that goes towards that as well. So I'm a little bit worried that's going to go to the end there. The recording bit.
How long did you record for?
I don't know, I didn't check.
Oh. We're going to do
I
this.
wonder if we're still going.
We'll do this in 3-minute blocks. Oh, we'll keep going, see what happens.
Yeah. So have you got anything before we start? Because I feel like we're going to go back to a lot of things and everything's going to kind of come back to this in the beginning.
View on nutrition. I'd just like to say that I'm not a qualified dietitian or nutritionist.
Yeah.
So
waiver.
Yeah, exactly. Just throw that out there straight away. Obviously over the years we've had our own experiences. I know what works for me, but I think probably. Oh, it's still going.
Yes, it's still going.
I think where a lot of people fall down is obviously there's so much misinformation. There's so much contradicting information out there that people just get confused and they don't know what is what. 20, 30 years ago, everyone was saying, oh, fat is evil, fat's the bad thing. And now science has turned everyone's viewpoint around. And now they're saying like, no, sugar's the evil. Okay, and I can understand now over the course of 20, 30 years, that's why there's this massive obesity epidemic and why so many people have cardiovascular problems. Purely because of what a few scientists said back in the day, and then a few that opposed them said they were wrong, and then there was a few people throwing money at them, and that's just kind of how it works in the nutrition world. Like humans need food to survive, so it is a market, it is a business as well, unfortunately. So that's just what I've learned, that a lot of people are misguided from all different pieces of information out there. So the only real way, like if you need to make sure that you figure out 100% what you need to do, you go see someone who is qualified. Obviously coaches, we can guide you in the right direction, but if you need something more specific, that's where you go and see a dietitian, go and see a nutritionist, put the time in, like you come and see us till we get you guys really fit, and you put some finances into that to come and get really fit. So maybe for your food, to get your health on track, you need to go and see someone to sort your nutrition out or sort your food out. But it's a tough subject for a lot of people, nutrition.
Yeah, like the more I've got into it quite a lot recently, just from my own personal experiences as well. Obviously, I run the 8-week lifestyle reset, and I have a method of trying to introduce some, good daily habits in terms of nutrition as well as exercise as well. And the more I go into it, there's just no one size fits all. Like, everybody's got different lifestyles, everyone's got different likes and dislikes, and something works for one person, it doesn't work for another. I think probably the takeaway for me before we get started with the questions is that it's not necessarily the knowledge. You can read stuff, and if you follow almost any diet that's out there, if you follow it as they say, you're probably going to get the results from it. All right, but the difference is not all of these things are easy to apply, and the execution of these things aren't easy. So if you can't apply and you don't follow it through, you're likely to fall off the wagon. You won't get the results that you thought you were going to get, and that's kind of how it goes. So, finding that sustainability and all that kind of stuff is equally as important as having, the best diet, as it were. Let's make a start anyway. So we'll try not to ramble on too much. Right, so we asked you on our Facebook group for some stuff on nutrition and supplements and fat loss based and things like that. Nolene was the first one to comment. She actually wanted us to put up a meal plan, and I did that. So
we've done.
Hopefully you got that. We ticked that one off.
Next.
If you guys do want more help with that, feel free to reach out to me. I've got plenty of resources there and can help you out with that. All right, so then we went to Rocket. Paulina asked us, most overused and underused supplements. So it's quite broad because we could go on to all different things, but Tommy, I'll leave you to go with that first. Yeah. Maybe just pick one from each.
Well, let's straight off the bat talk about supplements as the final piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. So if weight loss is your goal, supplements is something that you should be thinking way, way, way down the track. What was your analogy this morning?
Yeah, I
can't steal that from you.
I'll probably come up with I'll probably give you 3 or 4 analogies today. It's what I do. So someone comes in, imagine your exercise plan or you trying to get fit and healthy is like building a house. And when you build a house, you need to build the foundations, you need to get a roof, you need to build the walls, all that kind of stuff. That's coming to the gym, that's exercising, that's making sure you're eating enough protein, you're staying under your calories, all that kind of stuff. And I said someone who goes straight for the supplements is someone who's worrying about their curtains or worrying about what tiles they're going to have in the bathroom. It's not needed, because if you start with that, then you're not going to get to the point where you've actually got a house. So yeah, that was my little analogy.
Boom. I can't take it. But that's it. Supplements is exactly what the word says. They're to supplement a good, balanced, healthy diet. Like, again, it's a business. Supplementation is a business. You don't need it. But the only reason that, for example, I have a protein shake after I work out is because I can't stomach a 250 gram steak. If I could, then that's plenty of nutrition that I need. Protein, and people talk about, which protein should I have, which is the best protein. Protein is protein. Your body doesn't say like, this is gold standard protein, this is the best. It doesn't say this is optimal nutrition protein. It just says, hey, these are chemical proteins, these are amino acids going into my body. I need this to do X, Y, Z. So I'd say definitely protein is the most overused, but it is, one of the most researched out there as well. And a lot of people just need it purely for the fact, a lot of athletes purely for the fact that they need to get something in as soon as they finish working out. I know they say like optimal time is within 15 minutes post-workout when protein synthesis is at its highest. Not too many people can whip up a steak and shovel that down their guts. So
yeah, I think that's almost like that nutrient timing stuff and things like that. Yeah, that's a lot longer down the road. I think they call it the window of gains. I've heard it before. So make sure you get protein shake in straight away. But for your average athlete or for someone coming in just for general health and fitness, I don't think timing is going to be essential. But yeah, like protein as a supplement, like I see it all the time. If I ever ask someone to track their food, that's one of the things that's normally on the lower side. They find it hard to get the protein in, and it's important. Growth and resynthesis of cells and that kind of, and building muscle, growth and repair. So if someone's not getting it in enough in their diet, that should be their main source. Then yeah, it could be a supplement that they used. Mm-hmm. What about underused supplements then?
Well, I keep thinking from like an athletic standpoint, but I suppose I need to think from both. I guess maybe something like fish oil, depending on how your diet is. I know if you're someone who does eat a lot of fish, you're fine. If you're someone who doesn't eat too much fish, then fish oil can be super beneficial for your joints. Everything moving forward as well, especially if you are carrying an extra little bit of weight and your joints and your structures are under a whole lot more stress. And then you start an exercise program or whatever it is, but you know, fish oil is pretty well researched. But again, if you're eating enough food, you don't need it. But again, supplementation, I hate treading this fine line.
Yeah, no, and the way I look at those types of supplements, like I'll go with that as well, like an unused one, like fish oils and something like a multivitamin as well. Once you get to a certain level, you need to think about yourself day to day. Yes, food, exercise is important, but equally as important is your recovery as well. So if you're not eating the right foods, yes, you might be sticking to basic principles that we'll go into in a minute of making sure you don't go over your calories and things like that. But if you're training at a certain level and you're not getting the right micronutrients and the vitamins and minerals and stuff into your body, then it will start to affect other areas of your life. Maybe you're not sleeping enough at night, maybe you're not. All these things that help with recovery, this is where vitamins and minerals will be important, and you'll start to feel small differences. It's not going to make you lose loads of fat, body fat. It's not going to make you build loads of lean muscle, but it's going to help all those other factors around your daily life that are going to get you back to the gym because you're not feeling fatigued, you're not feeling tired. So I think for unused, that's definitely some. Like we've got some here. We use the Puri ones, which are pretty good. Like I don't know in terms of like how much detail. I've not too researched on that, but they seem to be one of the better ones out there. I know there's a lot of bad ones out there. So all I would say on that is do your research before you buy anything like that. Do your research and find out what it is.
See if you can eat enough food first, and then if you can't, then yeah, maybe you need a multivitamin, B12, or if you're going down the athletic purposes, maybe like a magnesium supplement for recovery, something like that. But if you can eat enough food, you should be fine.
Yeah,
totally fine.
So if you guys want a little bit of a take home from there, like come and speak to us as coaches. Maybe if you're starting to think about, you know, maybe I'm not getting enough protein in, you want to supplement, come and ask us first. We can give you a little bit more guidance. Same with the multivitamins and fish oils as well. Okay, so hopefully we kind of answered that. Let's move on to the next one. Best multivitamin omega supplement brands for women. I don't know too much if there's too much difference in between. I might be wrong. I'm not going to delve into that. Again, I'll actually have a look for you, Nolene, and I think you should do your own research as well, because I think it's important that we start to learn a little bit more about what we're going to put in our body. So maybe I can get back to you and answer that question.
Who's got the better marketing strategy?
Yeah, that's what we don't want. The marketing strategy is...
The ones who can put the best ads on Facebook and TV and market their supplements the best, it's a money-making scheme, of course.
Yeah, no, you are right. Because I found this out not long ago actually, that there's a fine line between laws and stuff that you can put on bottles. Like you can word things a certain way to get away with it, to kind of mislead people into
has
buying
been
stuff.
Shown to improve cardiovascular health, blah, blah, blah. Can't say will help.
Yeah.
Has been shown.
Yeah. There's a lot of wording, and at the end of the day, I go into supplement stores or I see stuff online, and me as a coach who kind of knows a little bit more than the average person, I even get drawn into stuff and go, hey, I don't know, but I'm definitely in a position now where I'll go and research it before I buy anything like that. Alternatives for high protein breakfast other than eggs, Shadi? That's a good question. I do struggle with that one a lot. There is plenty of other stuff that you can have. All I would say about eggs is that, listen, eggs is kind of like obviously like a continental breakfast, isn't it? Like you have it pretty much with most breakfasts, but they're just good source of protein that doesn't include a whole lot of other stuff. So it doesn't include a whole lot of carbohydrates with it as well. You know, so it's got some good fats there in the cholesterol. They're pretty good bang for their buck with the protein in there. But if you are looking for other stuff, maybe what I can do is, again, just link you guys up with some protein ideas, protein breakfast ideas in this group. But just off the top of my head, something like a Greek yogurt with berries, like Greek yogurt, like the 0% phage, like they're pretty good because they're, you know, not too high in calories, with some berries to make it taste a little bit better. You could, I don't know.
It depends on what you like, I guess. Just mix it up. Have some burgers for breakfast.
Yeah, you could.
Steak, salmon, chicken breast, chickpeas, lentils or whatever it is. Like, just depends on what you like to eat. But there's no like, oh, I have to eat breakfast foods at breakfast. No, wait, this morning for breakfast I was having rice and some Chinese flavored chicken. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Like, just eat whatever you feel like you can chuck down. And obviously eggs is just an easy thing to eat. Doesn't take too much to chew before you go to work. It doesn't take too much effort. Like, they're an easy thing to digest and chuck down. But just figure out what you enjoy eating and go for it.
All I would say on that is, this is where a supplement might be important. If you're someone who just doesn't eat breakfast because you don't have time, you don't wake up in time, you don't have time to prepare in the morning, you don't like eating eggs from the day before, food like that, this could be a time where a supplement might be something that you use. You might make yourself a smoothie and have like a scoop of whey protein in there or something like that. Like, that's not the ultimate or the best thing for you to do, but if it's better than not eating anything at all. And then when you get to Starbucks to order a coffee, you see you're hungry, so you order like a bagel or something like that. Like, so that could be an option. And smoothies are really easy to make. You could use almond milk, you could use regular milk, any types of fruit. You could have peanut butter in there. There's loads of ideas. I'm sure if you Googled it, they'd come up with thousands. So we don't need to go into too much detail on that. All right, so next one then, Alan said methods of nutrition that the coaches have tried and works for them in promoting lean muscle mass and fat loss. Also, what's more sustainable? Intermittent fasting, macro counting, paleo, etc. All right, so delving into...
This is Mikkel Peterson.
And then Mikkel underneath, what is nutrition?
Trying to be... Isn't he a coach here?
I think so.
What is nutrition? How is nutrition?
We'll answer that one on the next podcast. So... Alan's asked a few different things there, so let's just break it down. Methods of nutrition and the coaches have tried and what works for them in promoting lean muscle mass and fat loss. All right, I'll start with that. In terms of fat loss, again, it just comes down to the basics, burning more calories than you're consuming. So there's loads of different ways to do that. One of the things I've found really well, now I want to be really careful how I kind of say this, because I don't want people to go, oh, Joff does it, so yeah, let's all do that. I realise that I'm in a position where obviously a coach in a gym.
Hey, you can make a package, Joff's Body Blaster.
Yeah, like there is a time where I was starting to get a little bit chunky. Like, and it actually, they call it like a aha moment where I think it was one of my friends came over and he was like, whoa, and I was like, oh no. And I knew I wasn't training as much, I knew I wasn't eating as well, so that was it. And I know Mikkel had actually told me before about intermittent fasting, and then Deba, who's one of our morning members, she mentioned it as well, so I read up on it. Like, before anything, I'll always read up on it, and I thought I'd give it a go. And in fact, my dad, a couple of years ago, he went through it and saw some pretty good results as well. So if you don't know what intermittent fasting is, that's one of the questions that he's asked. It's basically where you set yourself a time, and it's normally 8 hours where you consume food and you're allowed to eat, drink, whatever you like, and then you have 16 hours of a fasting period, and you kind of make that work within your day. And there's different timings and things like that. I don't want to go into too much detail, but the overall fact of it and why it works is because we're looking for that calorie deficit. So generally, on a normal day, you might eat for 12 hours of the day. You might pick at stuff, so for that 12 hours you're eating. So already they're just restricting the time that you're eating, hoping that you're gonna be eating less over that time. So you're gonna be eating less calories. The fact that you're fasting for 16 hours means you're gonna be eating less food, all right? So that's one thing. Now, the one thing that really stuck out for me when I was doing it is, I'm a real snacker. So if I go behind the desk and I'm coaching and there's something on the side, I'll pick it out, I'll eat it. When I go home, if my girlfriend's got something on the side, I'll pick it and eat it. And there's no stopping me, whatever it is. So what I found with the intermittent fasting, it's very much a mind thing for me, is I went, right, I'm gonna stop eating at 8 o'clock in the evening. So when I go home now, if there's something on the side, I can't just have one, all right? I can't have anything, all right? So that mind game of, I'm doing this is what I've set myself out to do, I'm gonna complete this challenge because that's what I wanna do. And that's what I did, and I did that for about 3 weeks. And I changed my timings a little bit. I changed from, starting at 8 in the morning and going for 8 hours sometimes on a day where, I felt like I didn't need to eat in the morning. I would start at 11 and go through till 7. If I knew I was going out for a meal with my girlfriend, I would start a little bit later and just time that 8 hours. You can be a little bit flexible in there. But that's what I found with the intermittent fasting. I've read that it's good for helping to increase your metabolism, which would be a small win in terms of burning energy. And I think a lot from the feedback that other people have given me, it's more to do with, it just makes you feel good. It makes you feel good, you know, cutting out that time where you're actually eating. Anything on there, mate?
Intermittent fasting. Paleo, I guess I've dabbled with, and zone. I don't know if too many people know about that. I've kind of dabbled with. I did zone religiously for a month.
Can you explain what that is a little bit?
So the zone diet is that you have a certain amount of blocks per food item, and then you have a certain amount of blocks that then you have to eat per meal. It all depends on what kind of body shape and how heavy you are, all that type of stuff. So for me, I was eating 5 block meals 4 times a day, and then a 4 block meal because I wanted to maintain weight or maybe put some more weight on. So I had to eat quite a fair bit. I was eating more than I'd eaten before, and I lost a little bit of weight, but I was eating more. A lot more, but I was eating more clean stuff. So I think one or 2 blocks of spinach was like 8 cups. That was a lot of spinach. So there was lots of food that I was consuming, but I was consuming more veggies and more quality foods as opposed to just going the easy. I could have just had 1 cup of rice and that would be my entire carb block for that meal. But the zone, it makes you weigh and measure all your foods. So you start to figure out, what is a block of chicken and how much does that weigh and what does it look like? How much is a block of fat? What does it look like? What's a block of avocado? What's a block of broccoli? All that type of stuff. So you start to get a sense of how much each portion of protein, carbs, fats you should be having at each one of your meals, depending on what your goals are, whether it is weight loss, whether it's to maintain weight, whether it's for fitness, health benefits, whatever it is. And then paleo is just obviously, the buzzword and the thing that's going around as of late due to CrossFit and stuff like that is, cutting out all rice, pasta, lentils. It's just literally meat and veg, no sugar, no nothing like that. So it's cutting everything out. So if anything, what I took away from 2 of those is unless you're very, very dedicated and you think you can follow zone forever and ever, you can follow zone, cool, that's your thing. If you feel like you can follow paleo and you enjoy that and that works for you, cool, that's your thing. The thing that I got out of it is zone wasn't sustainable for me. Paleo is not sustainable for me. But what paleo taught me was quality of foods, and what zone taught me was quantity of foods. So now I can look at a meal and I know that I need to have carbs, I need to have protein, and I need to have fats. So each meal that I look at now, when I have breakfast, I know that's protein, that's carbs, that's fats, cool, and that's gonna fuel my body. I know for my dinner, I need to have proteins, carbs, fats. So every meal that I have, I need to have a certain more. If I've trained in the evening, then I know I need to have more carbs and proteins after training. Just little things like that. So zone kind of helped me to identify how much I should be having. Like lately, just due to coaching, I think I kind of subconsciously do intermittent fasting. I'm not a breakfast person. I've tried to, I just can't do it. I have a coffee when I wake up. I'm in the gym by 5:30. Don't leave and don't get home until 11 when I smash heaps of food. I absolutely just go to town on that. Maybe have a snack before I come back to the gym in the afternoon, and then go home and have a massive dinner at night. And that works for me. I seem to have enough energy. But for me, paleo didn't really work. I figured out that I had to eat lots, and I was a 20-year-old uni student that didn't have a lot of money, so I couldn't keep going out and buying steak and veggies.
Chocolate milk and tins of tuna and...
No, I need high calorie dense. That's my body shape. I've figured that out. That for me, it's just calories in. I just need to get as much food in as possible to even sustain weight. So if I can't do that, then I'll just get real skinny.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's good, and like I think I've dabbled in all 3 of them as well. So I think it's really good. Listen, like I said at the start, we're going to give you our opinions. I think it's really good for you guys to go and try these things as well, and kind of, if you get anything from it, even if you don't lose body fat or you don't get fitter or get in better shape, you're actually just going to learn from it and learn that the more that you do, you're going to find out that, they're all kind of the same. Like I said at the start, they're all just trying to create that calorie deficit. Something like paleo or like ketogenic's quite a big one at the moment as well. All they're doing is they're just cutting out paleo, not as much, but like ketogenic diet, you're just cutting out a whole food source. So carbohydrates, I wouldn't even know, but I know it's real low carbohydrates, maybe just from your vegetables, from that kind of stuff. So just by cutting that out, you're going to be less on your calories. So that's the idea of that. And I think just like the basics that you can start with are you in a calorie deficit? And that's what all these meal plans, all these nutrition plans are trying to get you to do. They're trying to get you to that position there. I was actually going to say some of them, but I forgot what it was.
If it's called a diet, don't do it.
Yeah, the best diet is the one that you can keep doing.
Don't do it. If it's a do this diet, no, don't do it.
Yeah.
Diet's an evil word.
It is. You just got to find.
Learn from, just eat balanced. That's literally all it is. There's no evil food out there. Your body doesn't recognize that you've eaten a Big Mac. It's recognized that you've eaten a ton of calories and a ton of protein, carbs, and fats. Yeah. But it doesn't recognize, oh, that was a Big Mac. You're bad. You're terrible. No.
All right, let's tie it into the next bit then. So we're going to go Timia.
Oh, what about Michael's question? That's a quick one.
Michael.
Nutrition for...
All right, Michael.
100K
Nutrition
row.
for 100K row.
Carne Corona's done. Next question.
Mate, you can eat what you want. I'll be honest, like, when I did my 1,000,000 meter row, I was just eating anything. I just ate like donuts, cookies, Subways, just like coffees, everything the whole way through. And to be fair, I kept it pretty clean as well, like for a couple of meals, but I was just eating anything, and I was just, to be honest, I lost like 2 or 3 kg. So nutrition's a big part of losing weight. The fact that I was burning 7,500 calories a day, I was probably eating that as well. So yeah, so eat anything, mate. Do I need to be in a calorie surplus for muscle gain, strength training? Do you count calories, macros, amount of protein? The importance of before and after workout meals, intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting, hopefully we've answered that. The importance of before and after workout meals. After workout meals, I said, there used to be this theory, like 30 minutes after you work out, you need to make sure that you eat, get your body's clocking for nutrients. I think that's been worked out a little bit. Again, maybe go and do a little bit of your own research on that, but I think if you're just sticking to the principles of your calories, then time is not going to be an issue. Before
is whatever you can tolerate, I guess. Don't eat a massive meal half an hour to an hour before you train.
Yeah.
If you can have a big meal 3 hours before, some people might be 2.5, some people might be 4 hours, just depending on, you got to figure out how you feel. So if you eat 3 hours before and you feel like the food's all digested and you can train hard, perfect. You might try 2 hours and then you feel a little bit sluggish and slow and your food's still going down. So that's just what you have to fiddle around with. I did that when I was a teenager. Smashed a massive meal, went off to footy training, and then always got a cramp like within the first 15 minutes. I was like, oh, what's going on? All right, I need to push my eating back. And then maybe if you can't tolerate a massive meal before you come in, maybe it's half an hour to an hour, you have something small. Banana, a handful of nuts, friggin', I don't know, what else? Eggs, like soft-boiled, hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah.
Just whatever your stomach can tolerate. But you need something little in, if you can, especially if you're training in the afternoons. Morning, maybe a little bit different. If you can tolerate not eating before you come in, and that's totally fine. It's personal preference for that one.
I think that is personal preference, depending on what your stomach can handle. But it's a really good question to begin with as well, and I think it ties in nicely. I don't know if people have been feeling hungrier since they've been doing the strength cycle, because people always assume that loads of cardio, that's where I'm burning a lot of calories. Like, you know, it can be quite the opposite a lot of the time. You're using so much energy through lifting weights, through doing these heavy maxes, overloading those max weights, that kind of stuff as well. And people have said that they're getting hungry from doing it.
Starving, absolutely starving. And there's a few of the ladies now, won't name them by name, but now they're actually coming up to us coaches and saying, oh, you know what, like this strength training, I'm actually looking a little bit more toned and a bit more fine. Like, I don't want to make your head bigger, but you know, I think you might be right about this stuff. Oh, really? No way. No way. Lifting weights helps.
Yeah. Like, I think we've drilled that in quite a lot. But in terms of calorie surplus for muscle gain, the simple answer of that is yes. You need to be, if you want to increase muscle, so actual dense, lean muscle, then you need to be increasing your calories above. So if you want to get stronger, if you want to get bigger. Now, if you're talking about it from a perspective as you just want to get leaner, that's totally different from there. So I guess, I don't know what you're kind of getting at there, Timia, but if you want to get stronger, if you want to get bigger, then you need to be in a calorie surplus. And there's different ways that you can do that. You can, like if your calories was 2,000 and you ended up eating a Big Mac to take you over, technically you're over in your calories. But has that got the right nutrients and right minerals, the micronutrients that we spoke about before? Is that going to have an effect on you the next day when you wake up and you're a little bit tired because you haven't recovered properly, because you haven't eaten the right foods? Like, food's so important for recovery. So we call it like a dirty bulk, or you could do like a clean bulk. But a lot of that is more to do with, if you are going to do a dirty bulk, that's fine. You're probably not going to get as good of results because glycogen is going to be stored in your muscles a little bit more, probably going to hold a little bit more water, and you're just not going to recover as well. That's convenient next door. So yeah, that is if you want to get stronger, if you want to get bigger. Right, let's answer the gentle hum. We've almost got through them actually. Let's see if we can get through all of them today. I want to add on a little bit at the end as well. Juliana, intermittent fasting and training whilst fasting with Ramadan approaching might be a good topic. Correct. We might even delve into this a little bit more for Ramadan training. Ramadan. Yeah, we'll do that for Ramadan. So we'll save that one, Juliana. For instance, will BCAAs help with muscle loss if you train on an empty stomach? If you don't eat straight after workout because of fasting, will you still reap the benefits of a session? Kind of already. That last one we kind of hit, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Like as long as you're getting your total amount of calories in for the day. Doesn't matter. I know there's still a lot of people who are freaked out to eat carbs at night before they go to bed. Oh, carbs before you go to sleep, bad. I don't know. It's just making sure that you get enough in.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter when. Your body's still working. It's still trying to recover and repair itself at night. So it's fine.
Yeah, just on that one. So we talked about supplements being like that last component, you know, the kitchen sink, the curtains in your house, but nutrient timing is another one as well. For everybody coming in this gym, unless someone's specifically training to get excel in CrossFit, or they want to go into a bodybuilding show, they want to get down to 6-7% body fat, nutrient timing isn't as important as you think, all right? So that whole myth of like carbs after 6, that's out. Carbs after 6 versus being in a calorie deficit, it doesn't matter. Like, we want you to be eating enough food, all right? Because if you're eating enough food, then obviously your metabolism is going to be higher, all right? So based on the information that I gave you at the start, I said calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. That doesn't mean if you don't eat, you're going to lose a load of weight. What will happen is, yes, you will start to lose water weight, you will start to lose that kind of glycogen from your muscles and things like that. But what actually happens with your calories going down is your metabolism goes down as well. All right, so then what normally happens is, I presume that you're going to eat again, so starving yourself is an option. So then by the time you eat again and you start going back to the calories that you were eating before, so for example, if you starved yourself before a holiday, 2 weeks I'm going on holiday, I'm going to minimize how much I'm eating. You get to 2 weeks and then you go the opposite direction. What happens is you increase your calories that you're eating, but your metabolism stays down here. So a lot of the time you can end up being in a worse situation. And people might have felt that before, where they've actually put on more weight than they were doing before. So in terms of hitting those calorie goals, it's really important. BCAAs is a good one because I think all of us drink it as coaches. And
yeah, I think it might be some in my drink.
It's not, do you know what? BCAAs isn't necessarily a proven thing. It's branched chain amino acids.
It's a broken down protein.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Just in its smaller components, I don't know, easier to digest. But
I've got to be honest, I drink it because I like the taste.
Yeah, it tastes
good.
I
really do. Like,
it's all a bit of a placebo effect before you train.
Mate, let's touch on that quickly because we were talking about that earlier, weren't we?
Placebo.
The placebo effect.
Hey, it's real. It is true.
Fat burners is a good one for the placebo effect. So the fact that the placebo effect, the fact that you've invested some money into buying something like a fat loss pill, you're already in the mindset that, right, I'm going to take the fat loss pill, I'm going to do the exercise, I'm going to eat the right food. So you're doing all of that together. The fat loss pill couldn't be doing anything. All a fat loss pill is essentially is a caffeine pill. It's giving you energy, all right? So the idea behind that is that you take this caffeine pill, you're going to be more energized, more motivated to go and train because you've taken the fat loss pill. In your head, you're like, well, I'm on a fat loss journey now. So you have this placebo effect of you actually start doing all the right things, you start noticing a difference, but then eventually it's going to end somewhere.
But it's the pill. But it's because I took the pill.
Yeah, there's no such thing. I promise you, as coaches, if we find it, we will tell you. We're not going to keep that secret.
If we find it, yeah.
Yeah, if we find the secret.
The secret formula.
But the placebo effect is massive with supplements as well. And I'll give you an example of mine as well. Someone mentioned to me because of my hip, they mentioned taking turmeric supplements, and I did. And I started taking them, and around about the same time I was taking turmeric supplements, I started stretching every morning at 5 AM, coming in and doing a run wad, and I stopped doing a lot of like the impact exercises. I was doing the heavy lifting, and everything kind of came together. My hip's in a good position now, so Was it the turmeric supplements? Was it the fact that I was stretching every morning and mobilizing? Was it the fact that I cut out these exercises? You know, like in my head, I'm like, you know, the turmeric supplements helps. I don't know for sure if it helped because I did it all at the same time. Maybe if I took the turmeric supplements and just carried on doing what I was doing and saw a big difference, then maybe I could say, preach on that, but I don't know for sure.
We'll do an experiment.
I don't want my hip to hurt anymore though.
Do some, we'll have to do a longitudinal study. Change too many variables.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap it up, mate. We're
Supplements.
yeah. We can
Ramadan.
Yeah, we can do a little bit more in Ramadan as well on nutrition, supplement and things like that. But I guess just to take away for some of you guys to take away for today, and I found this works really, really well. I think people understand the concept of how to lose weight, how to lose body fat. I think people understand they need to move more, they need to eat less, or eat enough. But the best way that I've found is, one, you need to be completely honest with yourself, because as a personal trainer, I've sat with hundreds of people and gone, hey, you know, tell me what you eat. And they tell me what I want to hear. They don't tell me what they're actually eating. Hey, I have 6 eggs for breakfast, I have grilled chicken breast and salad for lunch, and I have fish and vegetables for dinner. I'm like, what? Like, wow, like you eat better than me. Like, you generally eat better than me. Like, how have you got to this position? All right, so it's being honest. And it sounds like a bit of a ball ache, but if you track your food, whether it's you writing it down each time, whether you write it in your notes in your phone, whether you use something like MyFitnessPal, whether any food tracking, once you start logging it, and I don't just mean I mean logging honestly, you actually start to see the value of food, and you see what different foods are doing to your body. And you might think that you eat really well through the week, and so 5 days through the week, yeah, I eat really well through the week, 5 days, and then on the weekend I let myself go. That's fine, but you actually need to go back and look at the 5 days in the week. Are you actually eating well, or is something sending you over? I'll give you one more analogy before we finish. So I compare it to a credit card. So if you've got a credit card and you realize that you're spending loads of money, and you're like, I just don't know how I'm spending so much money on my credit card. Like, what do? You go and check your bank statement. So then you look at your bank statement and go, okay, well, I didn't realize I spent that much on that. I've got some recurring interest there that I didn't know I had. So it all adds up, and then you make your changes from there. But for some reason with food, we just let things pile on. We don't reflect on what we've eaten already, and then we don't tend to make those changes. We change the things that are easy, but we don't change the things that are going to make the difference.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anything to wrap up? I've gone on a little bit of a rampage there, haven't I?
Yeah, but that's good. You need to
Like
do that more.
the hands and everything.
He's doing it for the camera.
Yeah.
Nah, it's just whether or not, it just comes down to whether you want to or not. Like, if you do have a goal of losing weight, come and chat to us, but it comes down to you. Like, we can tell you and, you know, spew out as much information as we like, give you exactly what you need to follow, but it literally comes down to whether you want to badly enough. If you don't want to, you just got to be happy with that. You can't complain. Like, it's you are in control of everything that happens to your body. You can make all the excuses in the world, like, oh, work's really busy, I have children, I have to do this, X, Y, Z. Like, everyone has a busy life, doesn't matter what it is, but it's just up to you whether or not you're going to prioritize it now or prioritize it in 10 years when you find out you have heart disease or liver dysfunction or something like that, whatever it is. Do you prioritize it before something bad happens? But generally, most of the time, it's only when someone gets a shock.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, I'm obese now, I'm overweight. There's a good video on CrossFit now, there's actually about the UAE.
Yeah, guy from Inner Fight.
Al Qasimi, yeah, the Inner Fight one, that was really good. Didn't realize when he's 500 pounds. And then he was like, whoa, when did that happen? So it's not until you get a shock, something like, hey bro, in 2 years you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Oh, better do something.
Diabetes doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Diabetes, if you're gonna get it, especially if you've got a family history of it, it's happening now. Hypertension is happening now. All these things happen now. They don't happen overnight. So do something about it.
If you want to make a change, stop complaining. Just do it.
I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much, guys. Make sure, I don't know, what do you say at the end of a podcast? I hear it all the time. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Give us, share it if you think anybody's going to get some knowledge from this. Make sure you share it to them. Give us your feedback in the group as well. It's always nice.
Follow me on Insta. Yeah. I don't post anything, but follow me on Insta.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Sans Fitness Podcast. Join us next time for more talk about all your health and fitness questions. And follow us on Facebook and Instagram for all the latest from the Sans community.